It looks like a pretty fancy looking box cutter, but it's not just that. It actually has some really cool features. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and today I'm going to be looking at the brand new GodHand knife. It's called the Mighty Nokko. Why? Not too sure, but it's pretty special. Now when you look at it, it looks like a pretty fancy looking box cutter, but it's not just that. It actually has some really cool features, which I'm about to show you. So here it is here. So structure looks like a box cutter, but it's got a very special blade and quite a handy feature of actual holder. So just like most good quality cutters, you release it from here before it'll slide, and you see the blade coming out, and then you tighten it into place. Okay, so you can adjust how far you have this coming out, just like any other type of box cutting knife. Difference mainly is with this particular blade. So the blade has very fine teeth. So they're actually not as fine as some other blades, but if you're talking about something that is quick cutting, then this is quite spectacular. So it's very thin. The blade itself is only 0.45 of a mil thick. And then the blades themselves, unlike a standard saw blade, these are actually sharpened on both sides of the tooth. So as you're pulling, it'll cut, and as you're pushing, it'll also cut. So that's perfect for quick cutting of softer materials. So apart from that, so blade, so it's fully out, it is very flexible, as you can see here. So for instance, if you've got a dowel type of thing over here, and you couldn't actually get into this point, then you can bend it and then just cut through the dowel. Or if you need that to be very stiff, then this is the added feature here, which is for controlling the spine. So the spine comes out and reduces its flexibility. So along here, it's quite stiff. If you want it really stiff, then you pull this back, and then this whole blade is supported, as you can see there. So that's a really clever design of this particular knife. So I'm going to give it a go. We'll cut a few different materials. So I've got balsa, I've got some styrene plastic, which is your normal modeling plastic. I've got a bit of wood here, a bit of pine, and we've got some resin, which is our Hearns workshop type resin, which feels just like cast resin as well, so it's a bit stiffer. So I'll go through the softer stuff first. So let's go through a bit of balsa. So just show you how easy it is. So pull, push. So as I go faster, oops, maybe I should have tightened that. Hang on. Tighten that up there. Like that. Just going through now, sort of stuck with the spine that I had out, but there you go. You can see how clean that was. So just cutting very quickly with this particular knife, really clean cut. So here, this is where I cut it, and this is where we squished it. So vastly different finishes. Okay, so that's with soft material. Okay, let's move to something a bit harder. How about I pull the spine back, and we'll leave that flexible. All right, so we've got a bit of styrene plastic. How about I go about just chopping a bit off that, because sometimes when you're doing custom work, you want to be a really quick cut. All right, so try something like this. Let's just get a pilot cut first before we go across. All right, so you see how quick that was, and there you go. You can see how clean the cut is as well. Easy peasy. That was really thin. So what if I go through something like this? So again, just get it to pilot cut first. Okay, so this one's a little bit more difficult because there's actually two separate bits. There's flapping around. We just do it slowly and steadily. And you can just see how quickly that is. Just go straight through it. So most times to try to cut this, you'll be using a razor saw. Sometimes razor saws have way too finer teeth, which is great for a really fine finish, but it takes ages to cut through. So you could always use this. Already that's really smooth, and it needs to be polished up with a little bit of sandpaper, maybe 400 grit, and they'll be fine. So quite amazing. So that's through a couple of soft materials. Let's try it through, well, let's try it through this pine actually. So I've got the pine to sit near. Let's do this so we can actually chop the bit off. Right, just like this. Start it off. Just using my finger at the back to steady it. Greatest advantage of this is a thin blade, then also the double-sided cut teeth. Because you can see how quickly it's just going through this. This is gliding through. Now just be careful towards the end. This is where it can split. Look at that. That is amazing. Didn't take long at all. And again, that's with these teeth here. So I guess the thing to understand is with a lot of saws, the teeth are kicked out and it's quite a wide cut. But you can feel this is actually flush with the surface of the blade. So hence that's why you can get this so clean. And the teeth aren't actually dragging all the way through. So you can see how clean that is, see how clean this is. There's a thinner bit, that's super clean. The balsa wood I did earlier, that's really clean, might leave that there. All right, let's go through the resin. Now the resin, let's see, let's chop it in half. I guess we'll start from here. All right, so standard motion, back and forth. There you go. How quick was that? Now, as I got to the bottom, this one probably snapped. I feel it give way, simply because I had the hollow in there. But if this was solid and we cut it all the way through, that'll look the same. You can see the parts where I've cut through, super clean. That's here as well. So it's really good. So you can see that was cutting without the reinforcement at the back. So it's reasonably stiff, but it's got a little bit of give. Now obviously when I was cutting through the balsa, I had the spine on it and the spine couldn't get through. So you just have to keep that in mind. So if you use a spine, with the spine on, the spine's going to stop it from going all the way through. Still got a good over a centimetre worth of cut, but it just makes it so stiff. So just a few features on this particular saw. It's really handy. I mean, in this particular configuration, it's easier to just fold it all back and it'll just fit in your little toolbox. Little drawer somewhere, just like that. So there you have it. This is the new GodHand Mighty Nokko, which is a superfine saw. It doesn't have superfine teeth. They're actually quite coarse teeth, but it cuts very, very fine. So speed, clean cut, and versatility. So get one of these, very useful.